Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world away, and today I've got another great build. Pack 3 of the Agora Models release, and build the Orca from Jaws. Now, I absolutely love this build. At the moment, as you see, we have done the flying bridge or the fly bridge, depending on what era you are referencing nautical terms. I've been looking into that, and both terms are acceptable. I didn't realise that. If you don't believe me, do a Wikipedia search, although everyone's going to tell me how bad Wikipedia is. No, I did have a check of that. But today, we are going to be working on the cabin below the flying bridge. Loads to do in here. Now, this has only just arrived from Agora Models. If you want to get this for yourself, I have put a link in the video description, and you do have that QR code on the screen. What I'm going to do today is build it up, and then if I've got time, I'm going to weather just the outside afterwards. But we are doing some of the interior as well, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with that. We'll work that out when I put it together. Anyway, without further ado, let's get cracking. So we do have two trays of stuff again. This is the first one, which looks like this, and this is what the second one looks like just here. As you can see, all that internal cabin there. Now, if I turn this over on the other side, you can see we do have the roof parts as well. So it's this pack that we're going to be working on first. And as you can see, we do have a sprue here. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut off this detail from the sprue, making sure that when I cut it off, I'm cutting it off with the tab there. Now, we want to bring over the first tray as well, because we want this piece here. And I want to get some glue handy. I do like how some hinge details have already been put on here, and also the decal there that's already been done for us. Now, this is some sort of handle, but put some glue on here and push this into that position there. Now, you'll see we've got this top frame here. This is what we're going to be attaching this section we've just done into, and it's actually just going to go into here just like that. Now, most of this is held together with PWB screws, which is this pack here full of black screws. Now, you know you've got this in right because these holes here should line up. And it takes two of these PWB screws. There you go. Again, in the first tray, we've got the other side to go in. So this again is just going to be going on top here. Same way, held in with PWB screws. There is a lot to do into today's pack, so I'll warn you now. Okay, we've got a smaller part now, which looks just like this. Again, the hinges have already been put in for us. So these are going to be going into the position just here, and they slot into these here, as you can see. Just like that. But we do want to glue these into place. Now, I just want to ensure that it's going to shut, because this is basically the doors that open that take you down into the lower room there. So let's get some glue on here. And what I can do is actually just hold that like that. Okay. So the doors that are going to be going either side here, they are numbered. So we have got number 1 here, which is going to be the left hand side, and then number 2, which is going to be the right hand side. Now, while I'm keeping that there, I'm going to bring the sprue back over again, the sprue tree we got here, and I want to cut these two little sections off here. Now, in this louvered door, we do have a little hole for this to fit into. So that can fit in just like that. We're going to do exactly the same on the other door. And on this door, you'll see there's two notches. We want it on the bottom one there. That's because on the top one, we have this little catch. Once again, I'll put some glue on this and put this into position. So it should be that way round. And then once again, in a very similar way to how we did the top, I'm going to be putting glue just into these hinge points here and here and getting these in. So number one's going this way and number two is going in this way. Now when it closes, there's going to be a gap between these. Now what I've got here is some painter's tape, and I'm just going to hold this into position here so there's no gap. You don't want a gap along this edge here. That looks good. You do want a gap in the middle, and the reason for that is because obviously when this is pieced together on the wall, you see this gap between the doors here, that's going to push in. So don't worry too much about that gap at the bottom. In fact, that's something we're going to fit now, because we've got this section here. If I turn this over, this is going to be fitting on top of this section here. Now you'll see we've got notches on either side of this. Those notches are going to go into this section here. So push it in, and that is what's closing that gap together here. So again, we need 2 PWB screws, and that is looking really good. And then we're going to be bringing over the floor of this section that looks like that, because this whole thing now is going to be fitting into the 4 holes here. Now I'm holding it in from the underside again with the PWB screws, and I need 4 of these. So that's how that looks. And that is also all there is to do in that stage. Loads to do in the first stage. So we're going to be doing the rear wall of the galley now, which means I need to take off this little handle we've got here, and I also need the door. And don't get me started on how this handle changes from round to another one we're about to put in during the film, because it happens quite a few times. But the good thing about this model is that they gave us the best of both worlds. So we've got the round one here, and we've also got this little catch which is going in down the bottom here, which goes in that way. And then on the inside we have the traditional door handle. As I said, you watch Jaws. I mean, I have showed you videos previously, but it does keep changing. And that's in like that. Now in this bag here we've got a little JST plug connector again, so I'm going to keep that safe. But we've got these sticky pads which I'm going to need. Actually, look, there's a tiny magnet here as well. Do not lose this. Can you see that? Now these are going to go either side of the door here. So one here and one on the other side. Make sure that's secured down, because I'm going to use my tweezers now to peel this off to leave the stickiness on the plastic. And then I have an acrylic piece to put in. Now this is going to have some protective film on either side. So once again, I use my tweezers to help get this off. One that side and one that side. And then I can put this window piece into place. Got a cotton bud here that I'm gonna push that in on each side. And there we go. We now have a window in our door. Now we've got these 2 details here, which I'm gonna cut off. And we also need this massive section here, which has got the door on, because these are spotlights. What I'm going to do is put some glue just on these lugs here and the other side here, because these are going to be going into those positions. And because they got a hole behind them, they're going to be lit. But that's how that's looking. Now, do you remember in pack 1 we had this circuit tester here? We're going to need that now. So that's just a case of getting the USB-C plugging it into here, and we're looking for this long cable first, which is going to be 8K. So we can plug this in and just check this works. Perfect. And then I've got this ribbon cable here, which is 4 blacks, 1 red. This is going to be going into this M1 over here, and as you can see, that light is coming on as well. So what we're going to be doing is this isn't attached here, by the way. I thought it was. Look, I thought that was attached. It's not. Okay, we're going to be putting one of the 8K that we just tested first into this position here, and I want to fold it down so it's sitting in just like that. Now we've got loads of bits of backing paper here that we're going to need, because this is what's going to hold this into position. So the first one, which is going to stop light bleed as well, is going to go right over the top of this, just like that. The second one is just going to go down here. So that's going to keep that into place, but we can see the light through this side. Now on this side, slightly different, because rather than a full wire, we've got a little circuit board here. And what we're going to do is put the light in, so that's going in just like that there. And again, we'll have these little pads ready and start putting this into place. And one just down here. So that is how that's looking. Let's just put that to one side. I want to bring over this side that I just took off, because once again I've got a window which is going to go over here, but again I want to take off the plastic from both sides. I do think this time, this video, I'm going to do the weathering afterwards, so that might be on a separate video, because I'm conscious that even though this cabin's going to be finished, there is lots of stuff going in the cabin, so that just fits over the lugs here and here. And now we're in a position to piece both of these together, and this is what's going to hold that window into place. So we're just going to be putting this on here like this, and I want to make sure on these parts here and here, that's where the wires are coming out. Perfect. Oh, that's lovely. So now we know how that's going to fit. I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to be putting glue in all of the points that this is going to attach to. You can also see those ports are fitting perfectly in there like that. I've got one more part left on this sprue, which I'm going to cut off now, and this is just going to be going into the position here. It actually goes in, let's get it in this way, just like that. Okay, we can put the door in now. So exactly the same way that we've been doing the door before. Glue inside here, and I am going generous on this, and then put the door into place. Make sure you put it the right way around. Once again, I want to make sure that the hinges are all the way down here, and they are pushed down into this cavity here. And I'm going to leave that open. I'm not going to put any stress on those hinges at the moment, but they are in place. Now, got a little detail going in down here, which needs to be glued in. So again, I'm going to put some glue just along here and push this in. It looks like this. Put the side with the flashing on facing down, as you can see. And I'm just going to put that to one side. Now, we've got this number sheet here, which is going to help us to label up the rest of these cables here. Okay, so the cables coming off of this, we're going to label up. The ribbon cable here is going to have the number 7 on it. So we've got paper full of numbers here. And then the lead on the other side is going to have the number 8 on it. Now once we're happy with that, this is going to be going on here. Now this is going to be going into the holes here, but as you can see, when I put this in, the wires will straddle each side of this here, so they're not going to get pinched. Probably best on the top camera, as you can see. But once again, we will need these black screws to hold this into place. And we now have 2 walls in position. Once again, that is all there is to do in that stage. So we're now going to be doing the galley side panels. So we've got this section here that looks like that. We're going to be putting some windows in now. And the first window is going to be going in just like that there. Now, I'm looking at these windows, you know, and even though I'm taking the film off, I am thinking to myself, you know what, perhaps I should have left this on now, because they're far too clean, and I don't know what I'm going to do to dirty them up again. I will figure that out afterwards. So that's why I'm not really too bothered about smudges and stuff being on these, because as you can see, they're crystal clear, and I don't want that. This way round, look, they look normal, like you'd have. But yeah, live and learn. Okay, so put that one in first. There's some hooks, lugs on this side, so that's going to line that up for us. Now, as you can see here, we do have different thicknesses of runs which go down here. So I want this one first. I'm going to be cutting 2 sprues off of this. These are labelled number 1 on this side. And on this side here, I just want to cut off one of these thin ones here. So this is what's going to hold this bit of acrylic into place. So I have this one here with a number 1. Put it in here and push this down. Now, I'm not gluing this. If you put glue in this, it's going to creep out of here and you're going to get white things around your windows. Do not glue this at all. If you're going to glue it, use a canopy glue or a PVA glue. For me, I think I'm gonna, let me just see how this sits in there. Yeah, I am gonna use a canopy glue, I think, because even if you don't put any glue near the window, it's really weird how it works. The gas, the fumes that come off of it will eventually find its way onto this plastic, and you really don't want that. If you're gonna have a bad time. So I just so happen to have some PVA glue here, which I'm going to be putting into position. A little thin strip here, and do the same on this side. And let's get these back in. Got a little bit of excess there, which I can take off with my other cotton bud. Now this is going to dry completely clear. So if you do get some on the window, don't fret. But that's in perfectly. The last one's just going to be following the angle down here. And there you go. That's in place. Now with the ones that we've got left, you'll see this one here has a little tiny hole in it. And this time I am going to be using some glue before it gets anywhere near the clear stuff, because I need that little magnet now. Now it doesn't matter about the polarity of this, but I'm going to be putting that into this hole. Maybe tweezers and get that in there. Clear up the excess. So that is in there. Now that is going to be holding the microphone of the CB, which we haven't actually put in yet. I'm going to cut off the last of these parts. And while I'm waiting for that to dry, I will just take the plastic off of this. Personally, I would actually keep this on, so they have got that smoky effect. Even if you're only taking one off, you still get the same sort of effect. I am kind of regretting a little bit that I have removed this protection. We're now going to be bringing over the other side here and just do exactly the same thing. So this is going to be going in here like this. And then I've got my PVA glue. I'm trying to do a thin line down the middle so that when I do push that top bit on, it's not gonna run out as much as it did last time. Do one at this side as well. Now the one we put the magnet on, that's going to be going on this side over here. I think that might be a little bit too much glue on there. I'm just going to take some of that off. So we want the magnet to be towards this area here. There you go. And then the others we can just put on as normal. So it's time to put these into position now. So the one with the magnet on, the radio's on this side here of the Orca. This is just going to be going in here like this. Just putting everything together. Perfect. That fits in absolutely lovely. Now there is some lugs on this corner here that you can put in. It's going to make that perfectly square. Now we're not screwing this in at the moment, we're just putting it in, but that is looking really good in there. Do the same on the other side. Now I'm finding that if we put them in kind of this way and then slide it in, it goes in a lot better. And again, you can actually just put the lugs in the corner there, and that's going to square that up. And it's the PWB screws from the underside which is going to hold these into place. Now I should be able to shut this door now, which I can perfectly. Roll it back like this, get these screws into place. We're going to be able to secure these panels in with 2 screws here. So one this side and one over here. And then we've just got the 2 down the bottom here as well. Now I think what I'm going to do, a little bit of glue. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue just at the top here, just to make sure that the little lugs on this side don't fall out. So that's tight in position now, and I'll do the same on the other side. I'm making sure again that this glue is nowhere near that acrylic, and it's the tiniest amount I'm using just to keep these areas here closed. So I do have the screws on this corner to do as well, and just one on this side over here. And there we go. That is that stage complete. That's looking pretty good. So I think the last thing we're working on is the galley roof, which looks like this. Now it looks very similar. We've got this way round, which has got this little red thing showing here, and this way round, which doesn't have that. So I want it this way round with that little red bit showing there. And I warn you now, this is something that I am going to be modding. I want this, which is part of the lamp, to be more of a wire rather than just a thick shaft like that. It wasn't like that in the film. It was more like a wire hanging down onto this here, which is going to go like that there. So I am probably going to redesign this. Not quite sure how yet, but yeah, all good. Now we do have 2 cables left now, and I'm going to need wire 8M first. Now this is the one, if I just open this up, that doesn't have a plug on the end. It's just got these hooks like we saw in pack 1. And the way they want this to work is for this to go down here so that the light can come out just like that. And then what would happen is this would go on top and it would be glued into place. I'm just trying to think, do I want to do that? I think I'm going to, I'll mod it afterwards. I'm going to put the tiniest amount of glue on this just to keep this in, because I will be doing my own thing with this. Not quite sure what yet, but there you go. And then this is going to need to go on this plug here. Now If I'm holding this way round, then the ground or the black is going to go in this side, the red's going to go in this side. I'm not going to put that on yet, but we did do that in pack 1, you'll be able to see, but I am going to do my own thing with that. Now they do want me to test that works, so once again you can put that in the tester board. What I'm going to do is just put it on a 3-volt cell battery, just so I can see how that works. And as you can see, it's a lovely warm white light. It's not a brilliant white, which is pretty cool. That's working perfect. So on the other side here, where this is coming out, we're going to want to secure this into place. So that's looking like that there. Once again with these black pads. Just so you know, the reason why I am doing my own thing on this is because if you remember in Jaws, this thing's swinging all over the place because it is just dangling from a cable, but obviously that's rigid, so it can't do that. Now this is going to be number 4 is the label for this cable. Label for the cable. Now I've got one little LED left here, which I can just check because it's got a plug built into it. This is wire 8N. As you can see, that one's coming on fine as well. This one is going to be going into the hole. Just there, the hole, should I say. Did I say hole? Hole. And it's going to be going off in the same direction as that other one. But this time, when I put the pad on, which I'm just going to get out here, I want it to control the light bleed as well. So for that reason, I'm going to be putting the pad directly over that bulb, just like that. As a matter of fact, because that's being hidden, I'm going to put a bit of masking tape over that as well. Okay, this one's going to have lead 5 on it. So I can put that up here. And then the last board that we've got, which is this one here, is going to be going into the slot that we can see just there. So it's going to go in this way. So that when this is in, these pins are coming up from this side. Now this is held in with PWB screws again, but not the ones we've been using. It's these ones in this bag, which are shorter. These are the 4mm ones. As you can see, they're a lot shorter. So just get these in here. Now once again, gently put that down. I need another pad, which is just going to hold these wires into place on here, like that. And this one's going to have the last sticker on it, which is sticker 6. Now put that to one side, because I think we've used all the parts from this stage. I'm going to bring my flying bridge over, and on the other side here they want me to secure these down, which I already did. They want me to use these black things, but I've already done it with painter's tape because you're never going to see this. But what we are going to be doing is piecing both of these parts together now. Now this front section here that I've put on is not actually attached yet, so let me just take this off. As you can see, I'm going to be passing these cables through here. I think for now, because I am going to be doing my own thing, I will put that little plug on. There you go, that's in, because what we're going to be doing is feeding this up through here, and I'm going to be plugging these into the board. So it's basically the 3 cables that we've got coming off of this section, which are going in here. But what we'll do first is pull them all the way through, so that I can push this together. Make sure we're not pinching anything, but that looks good. And I'm going to plug all the cables into this board here. So one in there, number 5 over here, and finally number 6 As you can see, all of those are now in place. Now once again, these PWB 6mm screws is what's going to hold all this in. All the places that we can see here, I am probably going to be using that XF76 paint to go over these screw heads, but that will be all part of the weathering. So that's all the screws in here, and it's ingenious how this works. As you can see, you've got these pins here which are going to be going into the ports on that side there. So I'm just going to do that now, even though we're not meant to do that bit yet. But there you go, that's in just like that. Now we're going to hide these wires by putting on this front section again now. So this will be going on here. And then in stage 5 of the last pack, we had this part here, which is actually going to be holding all of this together in like this. Now, I'm not actually putting it in all the way because I do want to weather this up. So I want to give you a representation of how this is going to look. Now, my recommendation is I'm having problems getting this corner in. I'm going to do something brave and I'm going to cut off that lug because I'm intending to actually glue this down. So when I put this in now, I'm going to line up one side, which is perfect, and then the other side, and that's fit absolutely perfect in there with no stress, as you can see. Then this can just clip into the thing here, which you do want to glue in, but again, I'm intending on taking this out for weathering. But that is how that should look, and you see we've got a nice clean edge there and a nice clean edge there as well. So if I put that in and drop it down, that's plugged in, and there you go, that's working an absolute treat. Now can I test these lights, I wonder? Now we're in a control board, so we're not going to be gluing this down, but this will turn on the lights. Okay, so I've got my phone camera out now. As you can see, we've got the spotlights working. Now if we look inside, as you can see, the lamp's working, and also we've got a roof light there which is working. We've got the navigation light there working. Around the front I've got the spotlight working, and then we've got the other navigation light here. But that's all there is to do in that stage. That's all there is to do in that pack. And there you go, that looks absolutely amazing. Really happy with that. But we've done a lot today. There's that one as well. Brilliant. Not sure when pack 4 is going to be coming out. I believe we may be doing the mast. We'll have to see that when that comes. But I really hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.